I need you to understand something before I begin. I am not telling this story because I want to. I am telling it because the house remembers, and if I don't speak, it will speak for me. You're listening now? Good. Stay with me. Stories like this need witnesses. The Dubois family once lived at the end of Briar Hollow Road, where the trees lean inward like gossiping mouths, and the fog never quite lifts, even in summer. 5 children, 4 boys, 1 girl. Their name once meant something sturdy in our town: church donations, clean lawns, polite waves from the porch. People trusted the Dubois family. Trust is what killed them. The parents died 20 years earlier, in 1954. House fire, officially. Smoke inhalation, officially. 2 coffins. Closed lids. Accidents come with paperwork. Truth usually doesn't survive the filing cabinet. The little girl vanished that same winter. No footprints in the snow. No blood. No screams anyone admitted to hearing. Just an empty bed, sheets folded neatly as if someone had taken the time to be respectful, and a bedroom window cracked open, letting the cold in like a held breath. You're already wondering her name. I won't tell you yet. Names have weight, and you're not ready to carry hers. The fire nobody talks about. The fire started in the walls. That's what the report says. Anyway, electrical fault, old wiring. But houses don't usually burn from the inside out. They burn greedily, chaotically. This one burned carefully. Neighbors said the flames were quiet. No roaring, no screaming wood, just light pouring from the windows like the house was being shown to someone. The parents, Marcel and Yvonne Dubois, were found in the living room, seated side by side on the couch. No attempt to flee, no broken windows. Their hands were clasped together. People said it was love. I say it was obedience. The 4 boys survived because they were visiting relatives that night. The little girl was supposed to be with them. She wasn't. The 5 who remained. Jack was the eldest. He grew up fast after the fire. Like boys do when grief hands them responsibility they didn't ask for. Confident smile, loud laugh. The kind of man who drove too fast because he believed roads respected him. Louis came next. Quiet, observant. The sort of boy who noticed cracks in walls before the walls fell. He used to talk to himself, even as a child. After the fire, he started answering. Then there were the younger 3. Paul believed in God because believing was easier than thinking. Henry drank because silence was unbearable. Thomas listened. That's not a metaphor. He listened to things no one else could hear. And me? I lived across the road. I grew up watching the Dubois house through my bedroom window. I saw lights turn on when no one was home. Curtains move when the air was still. Shadows where no bodies stood. I told myself it was grief settling. That was my first lie. The years that followed. The boys grew, but the house did not age. Paint never peeled. Windows never cracked. Even the roof seemed untouched by time. Houses should decay when they're full of sorrow. This one seemed to feed on it. Louis lost his best friend in 1963. A hunting accident. Official again. Accidents love this town. After that, Louis stopped sleeping. He said his friend stood at the foot of his bed, wet-eyed and apologetic. He said the house was calling him back. They put Louis in a mental facility when he tried to burn his own hands on the stove, whispering, "It doesn't hurt her anymore." No one asked who Times Her Times was. 20 years later, by 1974, Briar Hollow Road had become a place people avoided. Children rode their bikes faster past the Dubois house. Dogs refused to walk near it. Jack was 38. He still laughed loudly, but his eyes had learned a different language. Paul rang church bells at midnight, insisting God had asked him to. Henry bought meat he never cooked. Thomas stood in the woods for hours, head tilted, listening. And at night, when the wind was right, I heard a child humming. Jack's last drive. Jack died on October 3rd, 1974. Rain slicked the road. Fog pressed down low. His car left the pavement without braking. Single car accident, they said. No witnesses, they said, except me. I heard the engine scream. I saw the headlights swerve as if something had stepped into the road. When they pulled Jack from the wreckage, his hands were locked around the steering wheel so tightly his fingernails had torn free. Fear doesn't do that. Recognition does. Visiting Louis. The facility smelled like bleach and forgetting. Louis sat rocking in his chair, older but unchanged, eyes too alert for a man they called broken. "You finally decided to listen," he said when he saw me. I had never told him my name. "She's still there," he whispered. "She never left. She never got to grow up like the rest of us." They promised her. I asked him who times they times were. Louis laughed until tears streaked his face. You hear her now too, don't you? That night, something scratched inside my walls. The basement. The police found the basement first. Symbols carved deep into the concrete. Old symbols. Older than the town. Blood soaked into the floor, not fresh, but layered, preserved, fed upon, and hanging from a nail, perfectly clean, was a small dress. Folded carefully, loved. The girl with no grave. Her name was Elise. Elise Dubois was 7 years old when her parents offered her to the house. They had learned its language. Learned what it wanted. Silence for survival. But houses are greedy things. They kept her, and they kept asking. The murders. Paul was found in the church, kneeling, throat cut, hands folded in prayer. Henry was discovered in his kitchen, body arranged like a meal. Thomas vanished, or so they say. Sometimes, when the woods are quiet, I hear him listening. Why I'm telling you? Because the Dubois house still stands. Because Elise is tired of being alone. Because now that you've heard this story, it knows you. Listen carefully. If you ever pass Briar Hollow Road and hear a child humming from inside an empty house, don't answer. Don't look back. And whatever you do, don't tell it your name. You should know who I am. I've avoided this part because once I say it, the story stops belonging only to the Dubois family. It belongs to me. I was not just a neighbor. I was not just a witness peering through curtains and pretending fear was curiosity. My mother babysat the Dubois children. My father helped wire the house, and I was Elise's favorite. She followed me everywhere, small hands gripping my sleeve, asking questions about the woods, about death, about whether houses could dream. I told her yes, I shouldn't have. What Elise told me, the night before the fire, Elise came to my window. She wasn't scared. She was excited. They said I'll never be alone again, she whispered. They said the house needs me. I asked her who times they times were. She pointed at the Dubois house. Every window was lit. I told her to go home. That was my second lie. The bargain. Marcel and Yvonne Dubois had discovered the house's secret years earlier. People before them had gone missing. Animals vanished. Whole families packed up and fled without explanation. The house offered protection. No illness, no poverty, no decay. But it demanded a child. A willing one. Elise loved the house, and the house loved her back. The truth about the fire was not meant to kill the parents. It was meant to seal the bargain. They stayed inside willingly, holding hands, feeding the house the last thing it needed: grief. The boys were spared because Elise asked for it. She always loved her brothers, even after what Elise became. Elise did not die. She dissolved. The house stretched her across its walls, its pipes, its floors. Her laughter became the creak of stairs. Her crying became the wind through broken seals. And her loneliness became hunger. The brothers were never safe. Jack saw her standing in the road. Louis heard her every night, begging him to come back. Paul prayed to her without knowing it. Henry fed her. Thomas listened until there was nothing left of him but ears. They were not victims. They were offerings. Why Elise needed more. A child's soul is not enough to hold a house forever. The house grew. It wanted witnesses. It wanted belief. And Elise, sweet, fractured Elise, wanted company. She remembered me. The night she came back, she came to my window again in 1974. Only this time, she was taller and she had too many shadows. You promised you'd listen, she said. I never remembered making that promise, but the house did. What I gave her. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I opened the door. I told her my name. The house exhaled. Why you're hearing this now? Because the house is almost full. Because Elise is lonely again. Because stories are doors. And because you listened, the final truth. Elise is not trapped. She is the key. And once someone else takes her place, she gets to leave. I'm almost done speaking. The humming has stopped. The walls are quiet, which means she's found someone new. If it isn't me, then it might be you. Don't look at the house. It looks back, and it remembers names. Recorded transcript found inside the Dubois house. 1974. Narrator missing. Asterisk. The call came in at 6:12 a.m. A neighbor reported lights on inside the Dubois house. That alone wasn't unusual. What unsettled the dispatcher was the second detail. A child's voice on the line, humming. No words. Just a tune that skipped notes the way children do when they're unsure how songs are supposed to end. The police arrived with 3 cruisers. No forced entry. The front door stood open, welcoming. Inside, the house was warm. Too warm for October. Every light burned at full brightness. The air smelled faintly of smoke and something older: iron and dust and long-dried tears. The officers reported feeling watched. One refused to step inside the basement. He said the stairs were breathing. The evidence room. They found the tape recorder in the living room, sitting neatly on the coffee table. No fingerprints, no dust, as if it had just been placed there. Beside it lay photographs no one remembered taking. The Dubois parents holding hands on the couch, smiling. Elise standing in the hallway, eyes too dark. The narrator at the bedroom window, much younger, listening. The last photograph showed the house itself, taken from inside, upstairs. Elise's bedroom was pristine, no cobwebs, no rot. Her bed was made warm. A small indentation in the pillow suggested someone had just risen. On the wall, written in careful childlike handwriting, the basement door. The basement door was locked. It had never been locked before. The key hung from a nail nearby. None of the officers wanted to be the one to use it. When they finally did, the house went silent. Not quiet, silent. What they found below, the symbols had changed. They were deeper now. Fresher. At the center of the basement floor stood a chalk outline, adult-sized. Inside it, a single name carved carefully into the concrete. The narrators, there was no blood, which frightened them more. Officer Mallory. Officer Mallory went missing that night. He was last seen standing at the bottom of the basement stairs, head tilted, listening. His radio transmitted humming for exactly 7 minutes before going dead. The official report. The case was closed within weeks. Unstable structure, unsafe premises, missing persons presumed fled. The Dubois house was boarded up, condemned. It did not decay. What the police don't talk about. They don't talk about the dreams, about hearing a child whisper their names, about finding dirt under their fingernails shaped like floorboards, about how the boards never stayed nailed shut. The last visit. One officer returned alone months later. He swore he heard laughter. He swore he saw a woman standing in the upstairs window, grown, familiar, finally free. He never went back. Case status. Dubois house. Status, unresolved. Structure, standing. Occupants, unknown. If you're reading this report wasn't meant to be public. It wasn't meant to survive. But houses remember. And Elise is still learning how to leave. If you've read this far, she knows your name. Final addendum. There is now a light on in the Dubois house. No one has lived there in decades. The humming has started again. And somewhere, a child is asking someone to stay.